Hi Bhavna, Faculty School of Finance and Commerce is going to give a presentation on the topic risk and return. As we know that the uncertainty which is associated with the return from the investment that has been introduced a risk into that particular investment option, it is called as the risk. So the expected return is the uncertain future return that a firm expects from the investment. So let us discuss more about risk and return in this presentation. Return is the income that we receive on the investment, plus if there are any changes in the market price. Usually it is expressed as a percentage of the beginning market price of the investment. So it is simply the financial return, and the return is expressed as normally as the change in the value of the investment over the time. So return can be expressed as a percentage, whatever we have derived from the ratio of the profit to the investment. And the return can be in the form of change in the prices of your investment in your assets that might be represented in the term of the price change. So a positive return, it represents you the good amount of profit in that particular investment. And if I talk about the negative return, it will giving you the loss. So real return accounts for the efforts of the inflation and other external factors. So the total return of the stock include price changes as well as the dividend and interest payment. Total return. The total return is having the three major components, and which the return itself, the yield and the capital gain. So the first is yield, that is the dividend, and the second one is the capital gain. As we know that the both feed on the net profit which is generated by the company. So dividend are the direct cash transfers which are done to the bank account of the shareholders, and capital again happens as the company earning growth. So these days we focus on the companies and shareholders, and moreover we focus on the future earning growth. So both the single minded focus on the growth might not be the common company strategy. So the following are the components of the return. Let us discuss more in this. The first is yield, and this is the most common form of return for the investor is the periodic cash flow, and whatever we have generated on the investment, either the interest from the bond or the dividend from the stock. So similarly, in the same way, we are having the capital gain, which is the appreciation or depreciation in the value of the asset, which is commonly known as the capital gain or the capital loss. So the total return equals to yield plus price change. So whatever we are having the yield, it is represented by the DT, which is cash dividend at the end of the time period T. P stands for the price of the stock at the time period T, and PT minus 1 stands for the price of the stock at the time period T minus 1. So this is how we are going to calculate the total return from this formula, which is yield plus price change. So for yield, it is symbolizing the different figure, which is T dt, that T stands for the time period in every case. So this is how the total return in the case of investment will be calculated, and it also gives you an idea that according to the return, how much will be the risk bearing for an investor. The expected return is that the investor cannot ensure of the amount, the return that he is going to receive, because there are so many possibilities, and the expected return is simply the weighted average of the possible return, with the weights being the probability of the occurrence. So this is how the expected return will be taken into account. The next is the expected return, and the formula for the expected return is summation x into p. Now x stands with the value of your return, and p shows what is the probabilities of the various types of return that we will be taking into account. So both x and p together it will lead to the formulation of your expected returns. Now, the next one is the relative return, which is a difference between the absolute return that we have achieved by the investment and whatever return we have achieved by the benchmark. It is called as the relative returns. The next is the inflated adjusted return. In this case, we are having the real rate of return, and it reveals that whatever return of the investment which we have achieved after removing the effects of the inflation. Inflation is the rise in the prices of an asset, right? So inflation minus, if we take the inflation adjusted return equals to 1 plus return, whatever return we are having divided by 1 plus inflation rate minus 1. So here you can see that the investment, whatever we are having, after removing what are the various effects of the inflation on that, we will be taking into account only the rate, and which is the return rate. Okay, so here in this inflation rate adjusted return, we will be taking into account depending upon the market risk. Risk is the variability between the expected and the actual return. So investor phases are trade-off between the risk and return, and the investors are rewarded with the return for taking off the risk. But the risk must be managed. For any portfolio, the appropriate level of the risk must be first determined, and then the portfolio risk need to be calculated to ensure that it is within that level or not. So we can see that portfolio risk involves the overall risk of the portfolio of the investment. It is a combined risk of each individual investment within the portfolio, and there are different components of the portfolio. And these weighted contributes to the extent to which the portfolio is expected to the various types of the risk. The major risk a portfolio will face is the market and the other systematic risk. So the risk need to be managed to ensure that the portfolio meets its obligations and also the necessary requirements. The next is interest rate risk, and it is a potential for the investment losses that occur because of the changes in the interest rate. So it is a risk that the investment value will change as a result of the changes in the interest rate. And this risk affects the value of the bond more directly than the stock. And also, if the interest rate rises, we can see that the value of the bond or other fixed income instruments will decline. So the change in the bond price, it will gives us the change in the interest rate. Interest rate risk is generally reduced by holding the different bonds of the different duration. And the investor may also need to evaluate that what is the overall change in the interest rate and how it is going to reduce the value of the bond or the other fixed income investment. So as the interest rate rises, the value of the bonds fall. This means that the market price of the existing bond, it drops to offset the most attractive rate of the new bond price. The next is the market risk. It is known as a systematic risk also, and it is the uncertainty which is associated with the investment decision. So price volatility, it often arises due to the unexpected, anticipated fluctuations in the factor, which are basically commonly affecting the entire financial market. So systematic risks are not specifically associated with the company or with the industries once invested in. Instead, it is dependent upon the performance of the entire market. So thus it is necessary for the investor to keep an eye on what are the various microeconomic factors which are associated with the financial markets. Like we are having the inflation, interest rate, balance of payment situation, physical deficit. So there can be the number of market risk, commodity risk can be there, currency risk can be there, country risk can be there, and also we are having the various form of the changes in the interest rate. This is also the form of the risk. This is the financial risk, which is the possibility of losing the money on the investment or any business venture. So one of the most common and distinct financial risks include your credit risk, liquidity risk, and operational risk. So financial risk is the type of the danger that is resulted in the loss of the capital due to the interested parties. And also the financial markets, they used to have a number of financial risks which are due to the macroeconomic factors, which include changes in the market, interest rate, and possibility of the fraud by the sector or any big corporation. So individual, they face the individual financial risk when they make a decision, and it may be also jeopardize their income and ability to pay the dividend because it has been assumed. So financial risks are everywhere, and they can come in the shape and size in the number of types. And you must aware of the financial risk because it is generally related to the odds of losing the money, and it is applicable to the government as well as to the private sector also, because if there is any default on the bond, ultimately the investor can face a number of the risk associated with the finance. So liquidity is the bank ability to meet its cash and collateral obligations without sustaining the unexpected acceptable losses. So it refers to how the bank is having an inability to meet the obligations which transit its financial position or assistance rather than we say. So it comprises of the process and strategy that the bank used to, and it also ensures the balance sheet earned as the desired net interest margin without exposing the institutions to the undue risk from the interest rate volatility. So you need to plan, you need to structure a balance sheet with the proper mix of your assets and liabilities to optimize your risk and return profile of the institution. Also, also helps to assess its ability to meet its cash flow and collateral needs without having any type of negative effect on day-to-day operations and overall financial position as well. So the foreign exchange risk is known as the exchange rate risk also, and it is a risk of the financial impact which is due to the foreign exchange fluctuations. On other hand, we can say that it is a risk as a business financial performance or the financial position. It was impacted by the changes in the interest rate between the currencies. So there are the number of the foreign exchange risk, which includes your transaction risk, which includes your economic risk and translation. So the risks occur when a company which is engaged in the financial transaction or they maintain the financial statement in the currency which is other than where they are having their own headquarters. So, for example, a company based in Canada that do the business in China, they will receive the financial transaction in China's currency, right? So they will report its financial statement in the Canadian dollar and which is exposed to the foreign exchange rate. So there can be a number of foreign exchange risk involved in this, and one should explore the those risk factors. Currency risk is the uncertainty which is associated with the investment of the particular, uh, which we are investing in that particular country, or more specifically to the degree to which that uncertainty could lead to the losses. So this uncertainty can be in the number of factors: political, economic, exchange rate, technological influences. So in particular, the country risk, it represents the risk of a foreign government, which they have default on the bonds or on the financial commitment, in which leads to increase the transfer risk. In the broader way, if I say that it is the degree to which the political and economic unset which is affecting the securities of the issuer, which are doing the business in their home country, in their particular country. So country risk often refers to the possibility of the default on the locally issued bonds, and it is critically to consider when investing in the less developed countries, because the degree to which these factors can affect the investors in the given country, and these risks can be increased also, and because of the great uh, exposed because of the great changes in the financial market, the country risk need to be evaluated by the investor.